Welcome back to Things They Forgot to Teach You in Business School. I'm your host, Scott Rosen, MD and board member for SRCC Impaired GmbH, and today's episode addresses probably the most popular topic our students and, I suppose arguably, well, more to the point, our mid-managers actually ask us. How do you stop making mistakes when you're presenting? It's a simple question. The short answer is this. It takes practice to know when you're making mistakes so that you can learn how to recognize and counter them. If that's too general of a response or perhaps too cryptic, let's take a closer look. You need experience to recognize when you and your teams are about to or are already making mistakes. Some of these can be fixed outright, others can be handled on the go, and still others can be prevented entirely. This first video is part of a set that will give you a first-hand view at what the common mistakes are, how to recognize them as or before they happen, and we're going to provide you with counters which can help you address them before they adversely affect your presentation. We're going to break everything down so that you can institute them in stages, and they're designed to be intuitive and practical. These are the sorts of things that once you recognize them, they kind of become hard to unsee. Now, please keep in mind, we've both made and seen these mistakes over the past 20 years in our experience, and these are just some of the tips which we have found to work for us and our clients. So enough talking, let's take a look. Probably the most popular, I would have to say, would be that many mistakes could be prevented before the presentation has even started. We see so many speakers, and ourselves included, frankly. We try to win over the audience with flashy graphics or animations or some images that are just going to blow everybody's minds. Some of these require multiple clicks or precise timing to nail down, and in some cases, being off by even a few seconds or if you miss a click can cause your entire presentation to fall off. The bottom line is this. If you're prone to making mistakes, it often helps to tone it down. Less clicks means less chance of things happening and miscuing a slide or missing your points. Murphy's Law, so to speak. Tone it down. Go a bit more bare bones, and you'll find that you'll be making fewer mistakes. Number 2 is a big one. If there's nothing else that you learned from this video or anything else, please remember this. Never read from the slides. It automatically assumes that you think the audience doesn't know how to read, and it's completely unprofessional. It's especially true if you're the type of person who's standing out there with their back to the audience just reading off the deck. You start sounding like a robot, and it's everyone's cue automatically to start zoning out. Now, don't get us wrong. If you've got a note card or a few items that are going to help you remember your main points while you're up there, that's perfectly admirable. It's acceptable. Just don't be the person who's standing up there, notebook in hand, preaching every word directly from the deck or out of their notebook. It bores the living you-know-what out of the audience, and you don't want that happening to you. Do you remember the painter Bob Ross? He was the guy who had a television program throughout the 80s and 90s where he would paint a happy little bush or a fluffy cloud that needs a friend. Do you remember the guy with the hair? You remember his voice? The man could paint an absolute masterpiece in 29 minutes, but because his voice was so soothing, no one was awake after 5. Be careful with your tone of voice. Make sure you're making inflections and varying your pitch for various energy levels, so that you keep your audience interested in what you have to say. If you start sounding like this, you've got a problem. Rounding out the top 4 mistakes, we definitely have to mention eye contact. Keeping your eyes outwards towards the audience shows that you're engaged with them and that you actually are being respectful of their time. Remember, some of them don't actually want to be there or watch you say anything. It's important, so if you're having trouble with eye contact, try picking 2 or 3 points in the room. Look for your teammates. Some shiny clothing, sequins are great, or some fancy ties in the crowd, if you've got enough room. A little trick you can actually use is to take a few Post-it notes, just as simple, and put them on the edge of the table throughout the room in different areas. This will spread your eye contact out and around. Just make sure that you're not looking like a sprinkler as you go around. Vary your pitch and go from one to the next. Try to vary it, and you'll come away okay. This will give you a couple reference points to reset your eye contact on the fly. Hope it helps. So there you have it. Don't complicate things if you don't need to. Watch your eye contact. Make sure that you're not being a drone voice speaker, and please, please, please don't ever read from the slides. Addressing these mistakes takes a bit of practice. So try using these tips at your next presentation and let us know how you improved. Go slow. Don't try to master everything at once, and I promise you'll get it. If you have your own tip or some advice which helped you address these mistakes, please feel free to let us know in the comments below. We're always looking for new ways to help, and we'd love to learn about how you approached and beat some of these problems. That's pretty much it for today. Help us out and give us a like if you found it useful, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips on how to make a better presentation. Next few videos will cover additional mistakes. There's a bunch we can make, trust us, so stay tuned. And definitely check us out on LinkedIn, Zing, or on our corporate site. If you have specific questions or ideas, let us know on email. Address is in the description. Good luck at your next presentation. Thanks again for tuning in, and as always, we'll see you next time.